to B6, man.
Top of the morning. Welcome to the B6. What's going on with
Nothing much, man. What's good with you?
you? Hey man, another day, another dollar. Trying to trying to make something out of nothing right over here, man.
What's the
But how was the
topic for
week?
today?
Topic today with adult life, I guess. When you get out of what was the first time I was thinking the other day? What was the first time you left the house? Like, what do you think is like an appropriate time? Like, from straight from high school, college, career? What are you trying to do?
I think I told you this before. For me, it's with my kids is it's 18. Once they go to college, once they graduate high school, I want them to go away for college. That's my whole plan for them is to go away for college. So once they turn 18 or graduate from high school, they need to leave the nest. Um, that's my plan for them. For
Yeah.
me, yeah, for me, I left in New York. I went to college. As soon as I graduated from college, I did like a 2-year degree. And once I got my associates, then I left. So I left a little bit after. I probably left like 19, almost 20.
That's pretty young. I mean, I don't know. I mean, for me, I think it's all for the mindset. Like wherever your kid's mindset is. I mean, you can have somebody 16 already have a vision, and I mean, legally they can't. They shouldn't be on their own. They can't do a lot of things. You got to pretty much put everything in a position for them if they that young. They just run out. But some people just don't mature until like 25, 26, 27. I don't know. I mean, it just varies. I mean, for us, for where we came from, everything was fast paced, uh, low resources, low incomes surrounding you. So everybody was bunched up together and couldn't wait to leave. I mean, I think for me, I left kind of late. I was still running the streets until I got my daughter's mother pregnant. And then I said, okay, now it's time for me to like try to be mature and get out there and do something. I mean, there was no urgency, I think, for my family to say uh, leave. But once I start seeing I was bumping heads with people, I was like, all right, I gotta get out of here. So, I mean, you have an adult that's running the household. They want control. So once they don't have control anymore, it's like, okay, what we gonna do here? And then that's your kid. Why are you gonna tell them to leave? But if y'all bumping heads, you're gonna you're gonna tell them to leave. You know what I mean? They can't just follow instructions. And I have friends and family that is in the same type of topic and position where they like, bro, I just want to get out of here. I want to run away. So I don't want to have to deal with these type of responsibilities. You having a grown adult in the household and they not necessarily wanting to do everything your way. They want to do things at their pace and things like that. It's a lot of layers on this one because the the head of the household is getting frustrated, and the kid that used to just follow you around and do whatever you want to do, and now wants to do what they want to do on their own time. So
Yeah, I
it's interesting.
fully understand both sides. Like I was there for both sides. So yeah,
Really, for
I mean
you,
as a teenager, you just becoming 18, you think you're an adult, you think you know everything. You want to do things like an adult would, whatever that is, if you wanted to have girlfriends or come in the house late, or whether you want to start drinking beer or whatever it is that you think adult life is, you want to start doing it, but you want to start doing it while you're in someone else's house.
yeah,
And they're not your parents, they want their household a certain way, and now you're thinking you want to do things your way, and you just
yeah,
heads is gonna bump.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you rather if and I know it's coming, so I'm like, okay, I'm already always tell my kids, like, once you turn 18, once you graduate from high school, you got to move out. You're gonna, go to college, be in a dorm or an apartment, and go to college that way. And then when you finish college, you could come back for like a year, maybe. I'll help you to, you know, get somewhere, but you can't live with us. So, um, yeah, I get why. I mean, as a young adult, you want to be your own. You want, but I could tell them it's a lot they're not gonna understand. They don't understand what actually adulthood is and the
Right.
responsibilities you have and why we don't put up with certain things. But if you
Yeah.
want to go live and find out, go live and find out. But just I don't want you living with me. You know, I mean, I love
Damn.
my kids, but that's
Yeah.
something that I know is gonna happen. I've seen, even if it wasn't my kid, like I had let's say other people live with us, and just so we can help them out to get to where they gotta go, and other young adults, it's all the same. I mean, you can't tell a young adult don't want to hear anything. You don't
Yeah.
want to hear you telling them what they shouldn't be doing because they feel like I'm grown. You shouldn't tell me
Hmm.
what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I got
it's they got to go.
yeah, I got some family members I tried to have these same type of pep talk. One thing I think when you when you're ready is you have that plan. Like you have your plan for your kids set up, but if they don't believe in that plan, they're gonna fail. You know what I mean? Is not a lot of parents out there that set up as good as you and your wife, where you can give them the ability to stay longer than is necessary or as long as they need. Um, some people have to leave by force. Maybe the family just got too big. They can't afford a bigger place. They can only afford to stay in the apartment or the small house that they have, but everybody doesn't stay the same size. They get bigger. So sometimes the oldest is forced out earlier than they need to or want to because they just don't have the space. And then when you don't have the space, yeah, you can stay, but now it's cluttered. Now you're bumping heads with the little ones, and then the adult has to make the executive decision and say, hey, you had your chance to spread out. Now it's time to let the little ones spread out a little bit more. What you gonna do? You know what I mean? And now you forced out. Like I said, I have family members that came to me and said, "Look, I can't take it in over here. I want to go." And I said, "Hey, try to hang in there as long as you can, because once you're out there on your own, you got the big boy bills. You know,
And bills, and it's expensive too. So now you have a grown ass adult living with you, you know, and it's like bills, everything is getting higher and higher, and a lot of
oh
times they're probably not even helping out.
yeah,
So
I know
yeah,
you can't. I know cut you off, but I know you can't really contest this because you have a Tesla, right? Does both of you and your wife have a Tesla?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we do.
that's so electric cars. Uh, we was talking about adulthood and bills and things like that. It just automatically made me think about certain things that I just don't pay attention to. If I'm hungry, I'll go out there and eat. I really don't pay attention that much to the receipt or what I'm buying that much, unless it's like I don't know, 5-star restaurant or something like that. Uh, there's certain things. It's like I need gas, I'll get it. Boom. I need to eat. Boom, I get it. But the other day, I went and got gas, and I'm like, holy shit! What the hell? It's like I went and I pumped the gas, went to the gas station to get little things, come back out, it'll be done. And I saw what was done. I was like, because I normally don't look. I look, just pump it and just keep it going. I was like, oh my God, man, this. I'm not gonna say how much it was because every state has a different, but it was just more than I was comfortable paying. And I'm like, oh my God, gas prices going up. I say that to say, young adults to just say, you know what, I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna get this little job, get me an apartment. I got a little savings, and I'll get something. Now I have family members and young adults that's in the same category that we talking about come to me and say, hey, I'm ready to go. I'm like, are you ready? You know, because you're complaining because the house is getting cluttered. Are you ready to be on your own, where you have to do everything on your own? You have to buy your own groceries. You have to feed yourself. You have to get transportation, the apartment, the small little bills like the cable, internet. People don't think about when they just leave. Those things add up, and you got to make a certain amount to even cover it, or you're gonna be either behind your bills or you'll be forced to come back home. Now, I didn't had one. Um, I'm not gonna name any names on this, but that left out of frustration because they wasn't ready to leave the nest. But the clutteredness and the frustration of bumping heads in the household forced them out. It's like, I can't do it. It got to be better somewhere else, but I can't do it here. Left, not even 6 months later, came right back
Mm.
because they wasn't financially ready, uh, and or maybe they had to live with somebody that they wasn't comfortable living with, because now you have to uh, compromise with somebody else's day-to-day living and habits. Maybe
Yeah,
you're a clean person, the other person doesn't. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's I don't think anyone is really ready when it happens. But really quick, when you mentioned the Tesla, I'll send you that link because Tesla, Elon Musk is coming out with something
No, I saw it.
like
I saw
Uber. I
it.
thought that was pretty cool. I always wanted to do that with one of mine, but it's like my wife always say, I don't know about having strangers in my car. So basically, you could earn like 30,000, extra 30,000 by doing ride share with your car, and then you don't have to do it. It's like they just use your car. They summon your car. If you join the network wherever you're at, they could, someone need a car, they could summon it and take your car and do whatever they got to do. And it's like another Uber, uh, Lyft type of stuff, but they're using the Tesla vehicles, so you could earn some money, which is it's kind of tempting to earn an extra 30,000 for the year just by not doing anything, just by someone using your car.
Right.
So it's tempting.
It's kind of been out there already. I forgot what my boy. There's a couple of people out there doing it. Where they buy a couple of cars, pay the monthly payments, and they just rent their car out. I
Yeah.
mean, that's been going on for a while, but now they just try to,
The
they
thing
try to
is,
capture that.
yeah, but it's like what you're saying is a little different from what Elon is doing because he has the infrastructure to tap into something like what Uber and Lyft is
Hmm.
doing. So it's
Hmm.
not like I mean, it's like we're not doing any kind of heavy lifting. They're just taking the car. Like we're not you know, finding the people. Everything is already on the network. So everything is
Hmm.
already like automatic. So
Yeah,
it's like easy money other than your car
yeah.
being
I
used.
forgot, I forgot what the term is used, but they've written out their cars. They've been doing it for a while, and they're using some app where your car is just
Yeah.
being rented out,
I know what you're
and
saying, but you got to facilitate that. They have to come to you. You have to, deal with
Mhm,
them. But I guess this whole summon, the Tesla have a thing called summon. That's when your car drive by itself. Like
mhm,
you whatever, tap it, whatever, and then it starts to drive to wherever you need to go.
mhm,
So that wasn't a part of the regular renting a car. Like what you're saying is renting a car, which they do, but it's a little different when you have a whole network behind you. It's like taxi, but it's more like taxi than renting a car. I think.
so wait, so when you summon the car, does the car go to the location on its own? Is
It's,
that what
it's,
you're saying?
that's what I'm saying.
I don't think we're ready for that yet. I don't know if the technology is ready for it
Uh,
because let's say if a
no,
car
they're
go,
working on it. They're working on it.
so they have to do a lot.
But they
Um,
that's what they've been doing. We have a whole feature where I think it's like right now it used to be like something crazy like 20,000 if you want that feature on your car to drive by itself, autonomous drive. But now we could pay subscriptions. But like say I'm coming from work and my car is way in the parking lot. I could summon my car, I could drive right to the front of where I'm at, so I don't have to
so
walk to it.
okay, so let me let everybody know what I'm visualizing right now because I know where we are. or where I think we are in technology is that the car somewhat can drive itself. What the uh, the makers of these cars want you to do to still be aware, because sometimes when it's driving, it needs to read the lines. If those lines are not read, then it'll just keep going straight, and you
Yeah,
can get
that's
an
correct.
accident.
And even with the
So
summon, you should be on your app controlling it. So if something was to happen, you should be able to stop it. You should be
well,
able.
I'm hoping that they're not leaving that to us to control. I would hope that the network is controlling it. Let's
Yeah,
say they have more cameras than we're used to
right.
seeing, and the network is actually watching, because you have to make sure, because I was
Right,
taught
you're
everybody's an
right.
asshole, but you on the
Yeah,
road, so you have to watch out for the
yeah,
assholes.
yeah.
So if you sitting there just driving regular, or maybe you're distracted because something you're doing in the house, I would hope that the network is somebody that's focused just on making sure that car get the way it need to get to.
It's coming,
Now,
bro. These things are being tested, even with big trucks. Like the truck is supposed to replace truck drivers. Like they
yeah,
already have those stuff are in the works. It's already being tested. As it's trial and error. They have accidents, but
yeah, I saw a video of the truck going
yeah,
down the road. It was
it's
pretty cool,
coming.
but that's insane. I don't know if the world should have this much advancement. You're
I think
knocking out a lot of jobs,
that's a whole
a
nother
lot.
topic. That's a whole lot, and I'm with it, but we'll move on from here. I
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah,
stray
yeah,
from too
yeah.
far
We
from
did, you did take
we
it
could have
off
had
the
a
top.
whole we could have a whole topic about that. Probably should have
Yeah,
waited to the end. But since you mentioned the Tesla, I sent you that, so we just
right.
threw it out there. But
Yeah,
I remember I think everybody, whoever watched the Cosby show, that episode when Theo had the Monopoly money
right.
and his father was showing him, okay, this is what you're gonna spend, how much you're gonna spend for food, clothes,
Mhm.
if you're gonna have a girlfriend, car,
Right.
like I ride my bike. It's reality. We try to teach our kids reality, but they're not gonna have no idea until they actually experience it. It's not as
How,
easy as they think.
yeah, and that's another thing too. I didn't even think about, because I named all these things. Once you leave the house early out of frustration because of space, um, attention, bumping heads, whatever it is, it's not just the bills, but your day to day, what you used to do when you were living in the house rent free, going out. Like now, if you're paying everything on your own, you have to ask yourself, are you prepared or ready to just be in the house more often? Because these
But
bills add up.
yeah,
Yeah, go.
but I mean, let's state that what's the good thing if you were for the to live on your own? What's the of living on your own? What do you think? Obviously, the good things.
Pros of living on your own. Now your uh, your vision, you can you can go by your vision. As far as like, all right, I want this place to look like this. Or I'll get to this when I want to, opposed to when you're under somebody else's. Hey, I want this to look like this now, or I want things to be. You do things at your pace, your schedule, um, independence, growth. I think you feel that sense once you're out on your own. But when you're still in the house, negative is that you just basically moving and acting under somebody else's leadership. You can't have two leaders in the household, especially if one it's on is their household.
Yeah, just independence. You mean anything you want. I mean, whatever your parents used to nag, nag about. You don't have to listen to it. It's not they're not gonna be there to nag if you leave your clothes on the
Hmm.
floor or whatever it is in the fridge situation. You can do whatever
Hmm.
you want. You can have girlfriends, sleep over, whatever you want. You could do. That's the pros
Yeah.
being independent, not having to listen to anyone, right?
Right.
But then, what's the cons? It's like of leaving, like of being you living on your own now. We talked about it. All the bills.
Bills. Yeah.
What else? What else happened? Like, I mean, it'd be ideal if you could stay at home, save you money, and get a head start in life, rather than kind of start from behind and have to scratch and save. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
To get something like say you wanted to buy a car or a house, it's easier to do that if you stay with your parents and save you money.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah. It's just
yeah,
you just gotta know how to read the room. That's why I tell a couple of people that are in the same position that we're talking about the same topic where one foot in, one foot out. Should I leave? Should I go? What should I do if I stay? What should I do if I go? If you stay, the best advice I can give anybody is just shut the fuck up. Keep quiet, keep straight, listen, save as much as you can, as fast as you can, because you know you still got to get through that day, the next day, and again, I don't know who was the when was the feeling in the household before you left. That's what I wanted to ask before
well,
you left.
for me, it was again, it was around September 11th, the 9/11 thing, and I think during that time, like I wasn't really talking to a lot of the family members in my household, so it made it kind of easy. And then I had a
Why?
various things, man. It could have been about with my sisters, maybe I let money situation, or let one of them borrow money and they didn't pay me back, or something stupid, or whatever it was. It was just a lot of tension in the house. And when I got the invitation from my other sister in Florida, if you want to come, just say, hey, why not? So I just felt that was like an easy decision. I didn't even talk it over with my parents or anything. I just made that decision on my own and like
When did you
left.
tell them?
I don't even remember telling them anything, bro.
You just got up and left.
I remember what my wife told her mother. She told her mother that she was going on vacation, and she just never came back. But I don't even know. I never had the conversation with my parents. I heard when my father found out I left, he was like sad, but I never had that conversation with them. I just did my own thing, and that was the whole problem. I was part of the problem. Like living in there, I thought I was a man, and I thought I could just make my own decisions and do whatever I wanted to do. I used to have girlfriends come over and stuff like that and spend the night. Don't ask them, just kind of did it. It's like that's the thing back, it
Did
was
they
like a disrespectful.
did they say anything? Did they know about it?
They definitely knew about it, and they wouldn't say anything directly to me, but it's like you hear
You
them,
could feel it.
you could
The
feel it,
sense.
or other people talking about it. But
Mm.
again, I was part of the problem, and I'm just thinking back at it now. I was that was disrespectful. I wouldn't want
Oh
my
yeah.
child to do that to me.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's why I'm the way I am now with how I don't want my kids to live with me, because I know how it is. It's just, and I think it's better for you, and I think we'll have a better relationship once you
Yeah.
leave. You know,
Yeah.
and hopefully,
Um.
yeah,
Yeah. So listening to yours, I was trying to like dial in and see because I grew up with you damn near all my life since like junior high. So this is looking at your family and y'all structure. I always thought it was smooth, everything smooth. When you look at somebody's outside picture, you think they good. I wish I'd be okay in that household. I'd be okay with that. But listening to you and this, I never really knew your story, so it's like interesting. I was really uh, curious to know what was the pushing edge for you. Everybody has a pushing edge. You said around 9/11, but you was a young adult doing things that every teenager wants to do, have their girlfriend over, be independent, but you forget or you don't realize what it takes to be independent, and what responsibilities it comes with. And um, were you prepared when you got out? I mean, I guess you were because when you left, you stayed at somebody else's house, right?
right, for a short
So,
time, but yeah.
so what was that transition like? Because you went from one household saying, "Okay, I got to get out of here because," and I'm just going off of what I heard. I got to get out of here because this person's talking about this person. This person's not paying me back. That person's doing this, and I just need my space, right?
Yeah.
And when you got in that household, when you transitioned, because you excited saying, "Oh, it's gonna be easy"? Was that your mind frame, or did you know it was gonna be an issue just in another house? You just couldn't take the one you was.
Well, to answer that question, it's like I was set up nice. Like I was set up with a plan. For one, I had my own. Like in New York, it was a lot of people, and it's tight. So moving from New York to Florida is a difference just in space. So right away, I had my own room. Before in New York, I shared room with my brother my whole life. Never
So
had my own
wait,
space.
when you was you had company over, your brothers in the room with you, or
He
he
was
just
on.
out?
Sometimes he was on the top bunk, bro. It
Oh
was just
man,
New York, man. What
that's
can I tell you?
crazy.
But it was.
That's crazy. Sometimes I don't even think about things like that, like how people, you know, young adults still living in the house, didn't leave just yet, but you sharing a room. Like I was fortunate enough, I never really, I shared a room in my young teenage years, but a young teenage adult type, I had my own room. So if I brought somebody over, I had that privacy, but you didn't even have.
No.
I didn't know that part.
I
All
mean,
right.
sometimes he went and just slept on the couch, and sometimes he just stayed on the top bunk. I did the same thing
Yeah.
back and forth. But I had a plan when I moved to Florida. I had my own space, had my own room, and they knew my girlfriend was coming, and I knew I had a certain amount of. I forgot how long it took, but it didn't take that long. I want to say 6 months to a year, and I was on my own. But the best advice, if you're gonna, well, not best advice, how I did it, and I think how it works for me is the fact that my girlfriend at the time, which is now my wife, came with me, months later, but we did it together. So it's easier to me. It was easier together to. It's not like we were working high jobs. We were both working like these minimum wages jobs, and but two minimum wage paychecks together, we were able to have our own apartment and one car. And then gradually, as we moved up in life, we started to earn more money and be able to afford nicer things. But I think the fact that we did it together allowed
Did it
us
faster.
to do it faster. I can't even imagine doing it on your own, how hard that would be. So I'm not really
You,
encouraging that, because I know with that it comes probably, babies and stuff like that to throw you off. We got lucky, and we towards when we got our second home, that's when we had our first child. So it didn't happen right away. If it would happen right away, it would have made things harder. So, you know, um, again, what I want for my kids is just focus on your school. Let us help you with your room and board and your education. And once you graduate, I need everything to shift to you now. But I don't want you in my household at 18. That's just
damn.
my plan. Yeah.
I mean, uh, whether they mature or not, they gotta go 18.
Well, I mean, I'm drilling it in from now, so and I'm
And they
prepping
pace
them.
them pretty good. You think 18 they should be good if they pace the way they are right
I think so. They don't have a
now.
choice.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna learn the hard way.
Oh,
Either way, they're gonna learn.
I'm talking about mentally. I mean, you see
Bro,
them gradually
sometimes
grow.
you got to be in the fire to learn, man. Like what they was talking about with sports, with quarterbacks, you learn better in the game, or you learn better on the sideline. Like sometimes you go in too early, you might ruin them.
Mhm.
Sometimes you need to go in early in order to learn, but they're gonna have to
Yeah,
go in whenever they're 18. Hopefully,
I
whatever
got
they
it.
don't know, they will
I
know.
got a, I got a funny story too. I was like listening to you and your journey to get to somewhere where you're at right now. I was thinking back when I was a young adult doing the same thing you're doing, in and out of the streets, working, partying, getting having guests over or whatever. And I hear the whispers. Sometimes they say it directly to me, sometimes they won't. Sometimes it caused arguments between my parents because what the shenanigans that I was doing and how I was like living a fast life. Every now and again they said directly, hey, you need to slow down, you know, you're gonna slip up. But young adult, you don't hear, you just having fun, you living the life. And you don't realize just because I'm not asking for money anymore doesn't mean you're not costing me money. Like your usage of food, electricity, stuff like that is costing. So you may say, a young adult might say in their head, I'm not in your way. I didn't ask you for money. I got my own job. I'm paying my own stuff. But no, you still eating up and using up the little things that we don't realize until we leave, like the uses of cable, internet, stuff like that. But anyway, going off topic, what's the reason I left? I remember to the day what was my pushing point. It was a snowy winter, and first of all, my parents live or work separate times. Like one might have worked late shift, and the other one worked early shift. So one of the parent might have not seen what I did earlier. One parent did, vice versa. So they sometimes didn't communicate with each other. Hey, did Jay do this? Or Jay did that? Whatever, before they attack me. All they know is a young kid in the street acting up, living his life, but you didn't contribute nothing. So anyway, it was a snowy day, and my father said, "Hey, uh, shovel the front, so the walkthrough." All right, bet. I did it early, but it was a snowy day, so when it stopped snowing, I shoveled it up, and it was one of those days where an hour later it snowed again. So I shoveled it up. He came home, it didn't look shoveled, spazzed on me. I spazzed back. Like, as a young kid, your parent yelling at you, you just sit there and took it. As a young adult, you not. I feel like you're not doing nothing for me. I'm paying my own car, eating out, whatever. You're not doing. All I'm saying is you're not doing nothing for me. I'm not thinking about you paid for the lights, the mortgage, internet, things like that. I'm thinking you ain't do nothing for me. So he yelled, "Didn't I tell you to fucking clean it?" Whatever he said, however he said it. But it was more disrespectful than I could take. Like, I did do it. And we went back and forth where we almost had to be separated. I walked away. No, I think I walked away out of frustration, shoveled it up again in the snow. This was what was frustrating. Like, why do you want me to shovel when it's already snowing outside? Like, I'm moving snow for more snow to be right there. And it was, in New York, when it snows, it snows. Why would you be shoveling a walkway in, snow? So anyway, bumped heads, walked away from each other. And that day we went to, as a family, we went to bowling. And we're the type, uh, we don't we don't apologize. We do, but we say it in our own way, in our own language, or it's very subtle. It's we bring with our emotions, we don't express them as much. So we was playing bowling, and in our own way we said sorry. But that was like, I'm sorry and I'm out. We both saw basically two lions in the house. If you ever watch animals in nature like I do, you can't have two alphas. They're just gonna attack each other. And that's what we realized. It was like, okay, let's enjoy this night. And I didn't say it and he didn't say it, but we both knew it was time for me to go, and I left. And it was no, like, I'm gonna miss you, son. It was like, you out? Peace. So I left, and too earlier than I was supposed to. And I didn't come back right away, but I did come back on some, I felt the streets on my own too long, and I wasn't prepared. Can I come back for a little bit? And I
Where did
did.
where did you
Yeah.
go when you left?
I stayed at my baby mother's house. Well, yeah, I stayed at my baby mother's house at that time
And
for a
so,
little
like
bit.
like you asked me, so how was that dynamic leaving from one
It's the same
to the
thing. It was
next?
worse, actually. It was worse because I was more spread out and had my own space, and realized I was in a better position to somewhat like where you got your kids. where everybody's kind of spread out, everybody's getting structure, everybody's learning. If you know, and you can take advantage of the resources that is already in your house before you
So,
go into somebody else's house and try to use up their resources when they don't even have that many.
and you also mentioned you felt like your parents didn't wasn't doing anything for you because you had your own car, you was paying your own way. But
Mm-hmm.
what are now? What did you realize your parents was doing for you, especially when you went to a situation that's worse? But at that time, you felt like they're not doing anything for me. I'm taking care of myself. I have driving, take my own car, gas. But what in reality, what thinking back, what were they doing for you at the time that you thought they wasn't doing anything for you?
Um, they just set up things a little bit better. Because growing up, I went from the hood to a little bit away from the hood. It's like I graduated a little bit. I saw growth, basically. That's what I was taught. I went from someone who was very little bit of means, and I didn't watch or realize it till I got older. Okay, I see the progression that my parents did and the better situations they put me in, and the better schools that I went to every now and again. Uh, but I didn't see no progressions once I left. I was more or less, hey, I got beef with this person, which was my family at the time. Can I stay with you? I can't take it over there anymore. And wasn't really realizing that I was going from an okay situation as long as I walk the path that they wanted me to, or get out of their way, or maybe even contribute to some of the bills. At at that time when I was in the house, I ain't contribute to nothing. I was
Right.
like,
So
I'm
it
like,
was it
if I
was a
would have,
good structure. Like that's what it was. Like your parents had.
yeah.
You probably didn't see it, but the structure was there for you to thrive. But
And if they
you
would
didn't see it.
if it was explained to me, uh, or had those type of conversations, that, hey, look, man, you're gonna be on your own. You need to start preparing for saving up to be on your own, or saving up for this and this and this. My parents were so busy working,
Yeah.
I didn't really have that conversation.
Right.
If
Communication
they would
wasn't
say,
there, but
yeah, but
just
if they,
like they didn't tell you "I love you," you don't mean like they didn't love you. Just like
no, I'm not saying
just
that.
like that story with you and your stepfather, when in bowling, he didn't say "I'm sorry," but you knew he was sorry.
Right,
But
yeah,
it
but
just the communication wasn't there, but you could feel these things.
so
But you,
what I would say my parents went wrong, and probably the same thing your parents went wrong, is that no structure was really demanded of you. Like, do you pay rent when you was in the house?
no,
I think kids should be paying some type of rent,
I saw this
just to get
funny.
prepared, just to be
That's
prepared.
I saw this funny video on Instagram, meme or whatever. It was hella funny because, like you said, kids probably should be paying rent and stuff. So the in the video, parents told their kids, "Yo, you're gonna have to start earning some money. Y'all grown adults, y'all living in here." So
Well,
what?
go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
what was funny about it is the first they came they drove a speeding car into the driveway and said, open the door, and let's take off the plates." Like they stole the car. And then the next scene, they had this expensive painting that there is like, how much could we get for this painting or whatever.
The
And
hell's
then
a pig?
the painting,
Oh,
the
pain. Oh,
the last scene was he said, "All right, I'll be back late. Don't wait up for me." And he pulled down his ski mask. So what was funny about it was just like they wanted to say, "Hey, y'all young adults in my house, y'all got to earn some money." But
yeah.
the funny
He
thing
ain't say
about it,
how. He ain't say
they
that.
went about it to like, oh, you want to earn some money? That's so there's a lot of
So,
ways to earn money, kids.
yeah, but see the problem. But what I'm saying is that we should be telling our kids, hey, look, especially when they start to get that inch of feeling themselves. Like every young adult start to feel like, oh, I can do this on my own. I don't need you. If let's say before your kids leave, hey, I need you to give me $100 a month just to stay here, $200 a month just to stay here. It'll prepare them, and you could actually put that money aside for them later. and on their way out, they'll realize once they got to get or do like the monopoly thing on the Cosby's. Hey, look, you're making this amount. This is what this is going to go to. This is what that's going to go to. What do you have left? Nothing. Okay. Well, you know you're not ready to get this apartment because all your money just went to these three things, but you still got to do these two. You know what I mean? Just prepare them so they don't come right back.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that, but like I didn't learn.
No, they're gonna come right back.
Well,
Listen.
I'm gonna try to teach them the best as I can. Like and I didn't learn this growing up, but if you make $3, you have to put away. You have to pay your bills with $1. You have to basically pay yourself with the next dollar, savings or investments, and then the third dollar you could have fun, party, or whatever. But you have to split those. Well, how much ever money you have to put away for each thing,
Right.
and you got to be responsible. And I'm gonna try to teach them that I don't want it. I don't want to take their money from them, even if it means saving and giving it back. I just need them to have a plan and then work towards that plan. So if it's a 6 month plan, a year plan, but your plan is to be on your own.
Mhm.
So let's do what you need to do, figure out what you need to do to get on your own. So just know your goal, what's the end goal, and then work towards it. That's it.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping it's that simple for them. But like I know situations, real situations where another dynamic that we didn't really touch on is okay. Um, say you're away for college, right? You're out the household. You don't have to be for college. You're living on your own, whatever, right? And it's a harder road to do it on your own, whatever it is. Like, say you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, whatever it is that requires higher education and even like just a lot, right? To get it done. It might be easier for you to come home, stay with your parents, focus on your studies, become a doctor, and then go. But a lot of kids in real situations, they get the taste of the independence, and they're like, "There's no way I'm going back into that household and have to live under somebody, even if it means taking the road that's 10 times harder. I'd rather take that road that's 10 times harder than go back home and take an easier road and have a straighter path to becoming a lawyer. Meanwhile, that other path is like rocky and curvy. You might not even become a doctor or whatever because you can't really have the time, the attention, the focus in order to do it. So a lot of people don't even make it because they took the harder road. You know what I mean? But I want my kids to know like they could come back. And long as they tell me their plan, I'm fine with it. Like, say you need a year to focus on to take those MCATs or whatever study tests that you got to take to become a doctor or whatever, lawyer. Come back. As long as you have a plan, I know it's a plan. I know it's a 6 month plan, a year plan. As long as I know you have a plan and end in sight, I'm okay with that. You know,
Mhm.
but don't be no bum sitting on my couch doing nothing.
Mhm.
You're not welcome back in that case. So, but and
Right.
kids, I mean, I want my household to be an environment where they feel like they could come back.
Right.
I don't want to be one of those parents that's just a dictator. You know, I try to give them, I try to be smart about it. Stupid example, but like say, I think I'm better at it than my wife. Like when I'm dealing with my kids, something stupid last night. They wanted Olive Garden, right? Because my wife is actually away on another work trip with the work wife and everything. We could touch
Oh
on that
shit.
another time. But so she's away, and I'm by myself this week, and my son, I know he wanted Olive Garden, and I didn't want to cook the night before, which was yesterday. So I said, okay, I'm gonna buy you Olive Garden tomorrow, but I need you to eat this leftovers today. He's like, all right. If I would have said, hey, you got to eat this leftovers, I don't want to eat leftovers. You know what I mean? Like I try to make it seem like to, it's like a deal. Like I'm getting you getting something good out of it. So here, you need to do this. So I try.
Mhm.
That's usually my approach all the time. I try to like give them something, but also get something in return. So if I'm asking for something that's a lot, you
Mhm.
know, I want to make sure I'm giving you something as well. So that way it
Mhm.
balances out. So that's how I operate with my parents and things. So I would imagine when they become older, again, when they come back, it's like I'm gonna help you, but um, this is required of you, and you're gonna achieve this, and I'm gonna get this, and we're both
Yeah.
gonna be happy. But it ain't
Yeah.
gonna be forever. I'll tell you that. No.
Yeah, it's funny how and I always once I realized that I'm like waiting for the day where our kids can look and say it wasn't that bad. I had it pretty good, you know. Like I said, I always reflect back on that time when me and my father bumped heads and said, "This is it. This is going to be the passing of you doing this and I'm doing that." And I don't think neither one of us realized this is a first experience for both. I'm his oldest, you know, and then when I left for maybe a year, like I said, or a year and a half. Then I called upset, can't take it anymore. Can I come back? Came back, and this is me and him in the house. And he learned it before me. So he stayed kind of out my way, and I didn't realize he was staying out my way, and it made it easier for me. It's like he knew before I did. If I didn't stay out his way, he didn't stay out his, and I didn't stay out his way, we would have bumped heads right away. Right away. Two males, two dominant males can't live in the same household. So anyway,
That's nowhere to
uh,
live because a man's house is a peace, a
right.
sanctuary.
So I didn't
So
even
that's not fair
realize
to him.
certain things he was compromising for me,
Yeah.
his freedom, his company. He
Mhm.
stayed in the room most of the time, and he did every now and again flex and say, "Look, you do this. Make sure you clean up by yourself. You do that, whatever." Stayed out my way. I stayed out his until he left, and he left me the apartment. And now I'm on my own, and now I'm taking care of all the bills. And this was like the first real independent because you got to remember when I left, I left into somebody else's rules and madness. But when I couldn't take it over there, cried, came back home, just me and him. And he left first. Now that was the first time my real independence. And then years down the line, our relationship progressed only because the more life I experienced, I was like, damn, he had to do that. And
Yeah,
he sacrificed certain things for me to do certain things. Same thing with
absolutely.
you.
Yep.
When you left New York, you didn't have the great relationship you had with him until way until he came to Florida, retired. You had
Yeah.
time for him, and then you could really say, damn, you was doing this because of
Yeah.
that. Or you
I
was
didn't
acting this.
realize how hard
Yeah,
life was. Like
yeah.
first of all, y'all didn't tell me, but okay. Y'all didn't
Right.
realize how hard y'all had it
Yeah,
until
and
I
then
had to experience it
I
on my
think we
own.
had it on one of the topics. You were saying how your father was more the money maker and the organizer for us bills and finances come in the house. And your mom is not like that. And then you slowly realize what his role was and what he was doing. Y'all had a better relationship. Same thing with me and my father. Like I realized behind the scenes what he was doing and his mental and his mind frame for certain things I understood as I got older because I started to experience them. You know what I mean? It's just time. You realize you don't realize the certain things that they do for us or why they're doing it until later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's bottom line is, not taking a side, but obviously experience. We if you've been through it, you've done it, things times is different. Kids probably figure out a better way to do things, but life is hard as hell. It's not and we all struggle. Doesn't matter. Like
Mhm.
normally people don't get rich overnight. You got to work towards it, even if you become rich. and responsibilities of everyday stuff, owning a home, stuff like that. It's a lot. It's not easy. So, and you won't realize it until you get in that position. So a lot of younger kids, it's not going to realize even this conversation we were telling you, but until you experience it on your own, you're probably not going to get it. But you will get it
Yeah.
eventually, just like we got it eventually.
Yeah, young adults. If I have any advice to give, and I think you could attest to this because you kind of like had a plan when you left,
Yeah.
but you still had resources around you to help you edit that plan for a better plan.
Yeah.
You didn't even realize it until after it was happening. What I would say is just to have your plan, have your list of what you want and need. I mean, down to the T. No apartment comes with everything. Comes fully equipped with all the expense on water, gas, electric, food, cable, internet. All of those are separate bills. I mean, I was fortunate enough. I found one apartment where the apartment bill was structured where it came with internet and cable. Shit. It wasn't until I moved out of that apartment I was like, oh shit, I gotta, I gotta budget for that too. Especially if it's not coming with it. So you got internet, cable, food, clothes, transportation, all that shit adds up. It's better to just budget it all up. Make sure that you can afford all of that. And if you can't, what can you eliminate so you can afford your day-to-day expenses? Because
It's hard to afford all of that,
yeah, and if you
especially if
want it,
you're on your own.
and if
Just
you want
imagine
it,
if you had a partner,
yeah,
even if a roommate, it will make things a little bit easier. It's hard to do it on your own, especially starting out, because you're
and
not going to be
some
working any great job at that point.
yes, and sometimes you have a shitty roommate that doesn't have the same type of plan or mindset as you, and now you have to pick up some of their slack or suffer.
Bro,
Uh,
I work with some people now that work two jobs. Nothing against the two jobs. I kind of respect it because, okay, one job is not paying you enough, so you get another job. I'm just like, how you physically do it, but you could get two jobs and you could
mhm,
do it if you want to do it on your own. But then it will take a lot away from your education if you're trying to, build a career. But
mhm.
I don't know if you notice, like I usually shave before I come on here and stuff like that. And since my wife went away, I'm a little bit out of my routine. Like I got to pick up her slack. I always talk about my wife being a great partner because she does things and I do things, and some things I do she don't do, and vice versa. So she's not here. That means I got to do everything, and I totally forgot. Like shit, I woke up like shit. I didn't shave. I usually shave on Saturday nights, but I was
So you
tired. I
use
had to do the
uh,
dishes. And remember, I had so much to do. I'm doing the laundry. I'm doing the dishes. I'm doing my schoolwork. I'm doing everything.
how
So
long
it's
she
like
gone? How long she been gone for?
she left Friday. She coming back Friday. So that's one whole
Damn,
damn week. A whole week, bro.
that's crazy. You done lost your wife to another woman, bro. It was nice. It was a good run.
yeah. And they have a nice room. I said whenever we go on vacation, I want that same type of room because they're not sharing rooms, but they have a room with two beds and then a room with this king size bed, and then in between the room they have like a little living room. So
Yeah.
when me and the wife and kids go on vacation, I want that same thing. I want a room with two queen size beds for my son and daughter, and then a living room in between our room with the king size. That's what I
Nice.
want when we. That's what they have. So it's like they already have what I want.
Hey,
Again, I'm
that's nice.
fighting from behind, but so she's experiencing things with her work
Yeah.
right more than she experiencing things with
Yo,
me.
I was gonna say after the show, but I'm gonna just say the shit now. I mean, I'm glad you told that because we usually talk or text. Hey, what you think about the show? I was gonna tell you, bro, this was horrible. It started out a little rough. I was like, damn, bro, you all right? You going through it? It looked like it in the beginning, but it all makes sense now.
I'm tired, bro. I'm like, bro, I got a lot of shit, but
Shit, I'm tired too. I told you before the show, I washed my car. I went up. I went to bed late. Got up early. So I got an excuse why I look the way I do, but it all
Yeah,
makes perfect sense. You need your partner, and this
yeah,
kind of ties into what we all talking about. I mean, when you're ready to be on your own, you can do it on your own, but that shit is so hard, especially when you got two small kids. I mean, not small; they kind of independent. You kind of at
yeah,
a somewhat relaxed stage where you don't have to no longer listen for certain things. You can listen or say certain things. Hey, do this, and walk away. But you still have to do that. You still have to be a parent. You still have to do your cleaning, cooking, and all of this. Responsible for two young adults is rough. So it makes sense now. you just you just exhausted. I mean, the good thing you got, I mean, Monday through Friday, drop the kids off, pick them up. They kind of gonna be watched for half of the day. You're gonna be working
well, actually, I took off. See, the last
the
time
whole
I
week.
the whole week, yeah. 'Cause
Yeah, I
The,
don't
the
feel bad for you no more.
the
I
the
thought you.
last the last time I tried working and doing all of that on my own, I end up in the emergency room. So I'm not gonna put my body through working and working. So
Right.
I took off that week just so I could at least rest a little bit while I got to do everything. But it's still a
Ah,
lot. It's still a lot.
I don't feel bad for you, man.
It's still a lot, bro. Like
You had our sympathy.
remember, there's things that I just don't do that I have to either learn to do or be uncomfortable doing because she's not here to do it.
Folks, you're looking at one of the fortunate ones. We all felt bad for you, bro. We all felt bad, but usually when the wife is away or the husband's away, the wife has to still work and watch these kids, or the husband still have to work. You took the week off,
I
bro.
had to, yeah. For
I'm
my,
not. I'm not. I was
for
gonna
my,
pray for you this week. I'm not praying for you because after tomorrow, once you drop the kids off, you literally gonna have at least 8 hours of relaxation
nah, let me
Monday
tell you.
through
Let me
Friday.
do really, really quick. My son, he got to be at school for 7, so we getting up at like say 6 or whatever. So
Hmm.
be at school for 7. I come back. I got to get my daughter. She got
Hmm.
to get up at 7, and she got to be at school for 8:30. So we're gonna get
Okay.
her to school 8:30. Come
Hmm.
back, be back by like say 9. I gotta go
Hmm.
back and get because they don't take the bus. I refuse the
Right.
kids to take the bus. My son, he gets out at 2. So we're talking about from 9, and I gotta be early. I gotta be there like 1. So from 9 to 1 is my only time to have. So what is that? 10, 11, 12, 1. That's 4 hours. You said 8. That's 4. So I get my son at 2. Come back, go back to get my daughter. She get out at 3:30. Then I come. We probably be back like 4, and then I guess you make them dinner or whatever, and after 6 or whatever, at this point I'm probably tired as hell, and then I probably have like 6 to 10 or whatever before I got to do it again.
Okay. You know what this is? It's the littlest violin that we all listen to because you still got a big ass break, bro, and the whole week off
I
to
don't see it as a
do
break, bro. But
to
I
do
got it.
whatever.
It's like whatever is whatever, but like schoolwork and just stuff that I got to do. If it's stuff towards my business, sending emails or whatever it is, that 4 hours is doesn't
Okay.
feel like 4 hours of
All
doing
right. So
nothing.
you're gonna be doing some shit in that 4 hours. Okay. You got to do
Yeah.
work, your
You,
business work. Okay. Okay.
you
You
know
didn't
what
mention that
what
part.
I'm famous for? Not famous for, but you know what I like about myself. And even when I'm at work, I do it all the time. Like whenever there's downtime, I've always try to find something to do to stay busy. Like if there's nothing working, I'm gonna find something to do while things is not working that way. When things work, I'm already ahead. So I'm always when I have downtime, I always try to find something to do.
Mhm.
So my 4 hours don't feel like 4 hours of doing nothing, and then it just cycles over and over.
We all miss Terry, bro. I hope you can get her back. You don't lose her to another woman. That's gonna be another topic. It's
We good.
a make for a good show. Next week is all over. But anyway, I think we should wrap it up, man. We had a little bit more time, but let's wrap it up.
Let's get off the bus now. We're right on time.
Yeah, this was a good one. Like I said, just write down the end goals. That's for adults and kids. But if you're trying to leave, make sure you have an end game where you're not coming back. Because as a perfect example, you didn't come back because you structured yours right. You left out emotion, but you left out emotion with somewhat of a plan of being really on your own. It was a stepping stone. You wasn't fully prepared to just leave out the nest and get an apartment. That shit is really hard because I mean,
Yeah.
unless you got rich parents that's gonna say, "All right, get on your own, find your apartment," and then they furnish it. That's another topic. But me nor you had it set up like that.
No, the only secret, the only difference, to only thing to add to what you said is I found a good partner in that. So I had someone to help me. So we helped
Right,
each other. Everything was
right.
50-50. Everything was, she had her salary, I had my salary, and we made it
Yeah,
work that way. So
yeah,
try to
and
find a good partner in the mix of all of that.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, let's end it. Let's get off this bus, man.
Get off the bus.